Alright, let's get back to Altered Destiny. Where were we? Oh yes, we were trying to get out of this canyon. Gotta climb up the spine very carefully. And you can see how slowly PJ falls if you've got the speed set down too low, and it doesn't give you the reload screen until he hits the ground. Very annoying. In fact, I kinda hate everything about this place. Except the music, which, as I've mentioned before, is still lovely. So I'm just gonna resort to using the mouse. I get a lot more impatient with games now than I did when I played this when I was younger. So we're almost there, just gotta carefully get into the automatic cutscenes that carry me across the sinews. And we're safe for the moment. Of course, on the way out, I gotta make sure to pick up all the stuff that I dropped, because I need to take it with me. Although I'm gonna leave the picture scroll here. I do need to get the bowl that I left, even without the popcorn in it. And I want to pick up the gassy Klieg. Oh yeah, that's right, that was the first time I picked that up, so I get points. Yeah, nothing left here but the picture scroll. And I no longer need that because I have the defoil herb. And I know exactly what it's used for. So now it's time to go back along the paths. Some of which, fortunately, are automatic. I have to think that they designed these paths first, and then discovered that they were too hard to cross and just made the game take over for you in a couple of places. Like over here. That would be pretty much impossible to navigate manually. Alright, mousy. That is a heck of a lot easier than using the arrow keys. But I don't know, is it more fun to watch me actually managing to make my way through here, or watching me fail over and over again? The other problem is, sometimes the mouse navigation doesn't seem to work quite right. Alright, giving up and going back to arrow keys, because this part at least has a wall, so as long as I keep pressing my face against it, I'm unlikely to have any more problems. I think that was kind of a close one. Also, the edge of my tray table here kinda... I don't know what the heck it is. I'm using an optical mouse, and I guess it's got some grooves that sometimes make the cursor just shake. It's really weird. We're almost done. Those are most of the hard screens, I think. Okay, there we go. What's that backslash doing there? Yeah, they get easier as we get closer to the entrance. So I should have little problem. I should know better than to say that by now. Alright, mouse navigation. As long as you're clicking on the path, usually you don't have a problem, but... like right here, he only seems to take one step at a time every time I click, and I know there's nothing between him and the cursor. I guess the game just thinks I'm taking the easy way out. Alright. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot. Gotta go back. Because this is the thing that I figured out. One of my friends figured out using the bowl of popcorn on the Kliegs, because he was the one who figured out climbing the bones. I figured out that this is actually a walkable surface, and you can get over here to the pool of slime that the Wraiths left behind, and collect that in the bowl. I also figured out what it is that you're supposed to do with the slime, but not why. I never got that far in the game for it to matter what you actually have to do with it. So I'm just going to hang on to it until I get to that point. And coming up shortly, later in this video, I will be showing you exactly where my friends and I got stumped when we played it all that time ago. I think you may agree with me that it's pretty much one of the most evil puzzles ever. Like, in the history of gaming. Ever. So, once I'm that far, there's no challenge left, and we never have to see the canyon again, as long as you brought out the defoil herb, the jeweled arrow, and the bowl of slime. Speaking of which, we're not going to need 2 of those items for the moment. So, back at the crossroads, time to do the usual inventory management. Let's make a little pile over here of stuff that I'm going to need to take to the end of the game with me. The arrow, obviously, for getting into the castle. Oh, and the Klieg. Almost forgot about the Klieg. Don't need it yet, but it is a vital item. The only thing we need from the canyon for this part is the defoil herb, and I need to take a weapon with me. The sword or the axe work. You can take either one, but since I've already found a use for the axe and I haven't found a use for the sword, I might as well take the sword with me. As long as you haven't tried to use it to cut down a tree, it's good. Okay, I've got everything I need. Time to head back to the... I don't know if there is really a name for this place. Like the Sparkling Forest, or the Sleeping Forest, or... Spirit Forest, I think that's what they might call it. And now we're actually going to head into the light for something that I could have done the first time I came here way back when if I'd bothered to bring my weapon. Once you step onto the platform, you can't do anything, so you've got to wield a weapon before you step out here. And now we duel, which pretty much consists of moving to the right, pushing him off the platform, and not falling off yourself. Only problem is, where do you go from here? We're hovering over a pool of light that can disrupt the molecular structure of animal cells. So I think maybe now you've got the full picture. Now we know why we might need to, say, turn into a plant. And conveniently, there's a way to do that just a couple of screens to the right. It's one of the things that I like about this game. I know a lot of people have kind of flip-flopped about whether this is any good. But there are so many parts of puzzles that are scattered throughout the game world, and when you've seen all the parts, they come together and you understand what you need to do. Alright, let's speed this along and get that hop out of here. As I begin to turn into a plant. Can't move or do anything until it's completely vanished and the music goes back to normal. And now we just head back to the light. I think there are something like 3 actions that you're actually allowed to take at this point. And of course, I always save into another file when I'm turning into a plant, just in case I do something stupid and run out of time. But wielding a weapon, we can still do even though we're stiff. And the other 2 things we'll be doing later on. Of course, you have to do all 3 of them and nothing else. So now we can safely survive falling into the light. look who it is! It's Jonqua! We found the place where he's imprisoned. And it's a tiny platform maze. Jonqua, the master of silence and sound, where I think Helmar was the master of light and darkness. Well, I wonder what it would take to get Helmar to notice me. Not that I intend to do it. So, I'm not even going to try navigating this the way I used to. Mouse movement it is the whole way. And that makes things much easier, but the game drew my attention to this mound of stones, so I'm definitely going to take a look. Sadly, this is one of those clues that I think wasn't really necessary. Growth bridges the gap, seeding the path, crystallizing our differences. Gee, what do you think we're going to have to do coming up? This is a scary room. Alright, time for the second thing that we can do while we're still a plant. Although, I could eat the defoil herb at this point. I don't need to remain a plant, I'm just not bothering to turn back. Yep. Fall into the mouth, instant death. Should be no surprise. So we were told that the large crystal pouch would form a bridge of crystal if we threw it in a dark place, which this certainly is. And somehow, out of the base of clam chops, grows this lovely crystal bridge. And we need to very carefully step onto it. More carefully than that, I'm afraid. Yeah, can you imagine doing this whole thing with just the arrow keys? Up, down, left, right. Man, I was a stupid kid. And there we go. Now I could just walk to the right across the bridge. And that was the final puzzle that my friends and I ever managed to solve. From here, things get a little more fiendish. So there are strange markings on the wall of the tube that we're in. Naturally, we need to read them. So you got it? To me, it sounds kind of like that Sphinx riddle, you know, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening. But it's nothing to do with that. So at the bottom of the tube, we've got this floating floor. It's a room with a whole bunch of tiles on the floor, and Jonqua over there on the right waving us over. So we go over to where he was, and we get crushed. And that's as far as we ever got. Although, I did find something rather interesting, and let's see how many tries it takes me to do this. If you can position yourself just right horizontally, I think I might need to go a little further down. You can slip between the trigger zone for the falling ceiling and the falling off the ledge, and you can walk right out of the screen, which obviously isn't where you're supposed to go, but that lets you walk out here where you're not supposed to be. Just kind of an amusing little glitch. It doesn't actually do anything for you, and when you try to walk back onto the floor, you fall out. that is neat that you can do that. So have you figured out the solution to the puzzle yet? See, the poem on the wall had the numbers 4 and 1 in it. So you need to cross this floor stepping only on the tiles that have either 4 circles or 1 circle. Seems obvious in retrospect, doesn't it? But yeah, my friends and I never figured that one out. So that was as far in the game as we got until I found GameFAQs, or actually I think at the time I was using UHS hints. I mean, the rest of the game is absolutely no problem once you've gotten this far. And Jonqua gives us a silencer. I think you know what we need to do with that. But here we are above a pool of darkness, counterpart to the pool of light, naturally. Ah, finally! I'm actually starting to turn into a plant. This is like the halfway point of the process. If it finishes, you become a complete plant and die. So I'm going to save here, just so that eventually I'll be able to come back here and show you what actually happens when you die that way. And also that if you fall into the pool of darkness as a plant, you die. I'm not sure that was really necessary, considering you can't go anywhere and complete the game while you're turning into a plant. But the defoil herb cures us completely, turns us back into a human, and we can survive the fall through the pool of light now. Or the pool of darkness. And it just brings us back to the pool of light. So there we go, that entire detour, meeting Jonqua, not probably actually freeing him at all, was to get the silencer. And with that, we can finally reach the final area of the game. And why am I not moving? So it's time to gather everything that we've collected so far in the game. All the things that we haven't found a use for yet. And we're going to go take down Helmar. So we need the leaf with the prophecy on it. And we need the mirror that the Caliph gave us. We need to get the stuff that we got from the canyon. Bowl of slime, the Klieg, and the jeweled arrow. So that should be everything. All we're leaving behind is the sphere, which was never useful, and the battle axe, which has served its purpose. The sword isn't going to do me a whole lot of good either, but I'm not going to be picking up a lot of new stuff, so I don't really need the inventory space anymore. And one last time through the somnolent forest. I still say I know this music from somewhere other than this game. Maybe it was more recognizable when it was coming out of the PC speaker. I mean, the Sound Blaster versions of these tunes all sound like they have kind of different instruments in them. PC speaker was all just beeps. I kind of miss that sound. There are a lot of games that just are so nostalgic when you can't hear them properly. Not that I missed that at all. And I'm not going back to it. Oh, I kind of thought I would actually cross the room transition. I guess I should probably keep the mouse cursor on screen more often, because that turns into a hand when you actually hit the room transition. Probably the best way to know that you don't need to walk around something in your path. Alright, before moving on, I need to remember to turn the silencer on. You'd think that would mean that at some point in the game you have to remember to turn it off again, but you don't. It's kind of like, once you're done dealing with the Howlers in Howler Lake, the game forgets that you have the silencer at all. So now we actually have the chance to do stuff in this room, like look around. And we see a problem. The bridge that used to lead to the island has crumbled. Now, of course, we can walk into the water and the Howlers will kill us just the same. So, let's not do that. And obviously, swimming is out, so we'll go across the bridge about as far as we can. And you might notice a little light blinking over there on the island. So there's a signal light coming from the island. We should try to provide a signal of our own. Problem is, I don't remember the phrase to hold the mirror and point it towards the island to reflect the light. I tried just about everything. Well, that at least was kind of funny. And then it takes aim as a synonym for point. The solution is the simplest thing. Use. It's just that after playing so many Zort games, I've been trained to avoid the verb use in any kind of adventure game context. It just seems so lazy. Especially when you realize that not too long after this, the graphical icon interfaces came into vogue, and there you had a use cursor that would just let you randomly manipulate anything. And suddenly, half the puzzles didn't seem nearly as hard anymore. You no longer had to figure out what you needed to do, you just needed to do a thing. And look, we've got a boat with no driver. I suppose it should probably be spelled B-O-T-E in homage to Flight of the Amazon Queen. Oh, what do you know, it really is spelled B-O-T-E. Although I bet if I just typed B-O-T-E, the game probably wouldn't recognize it. But we've got a boatman to take us across the lake. And we need to get closer. Like everything else in the game, movement is key to the solution. Alright, into the final stretch of the game. Very slowly. Oh, I assume that's Helmar watching us. So I guess now he knows we're on our way. And yeah, the island manages to look really, really creepy. Because it is. A lot of this stuff will kill you. And the deadliest stuff is stuff that we're not even seeing yet. See, there they are, popping up out of the sand now. What the heck are they? Oh, and the sand is crushed bone, of course. Alright, they're noisomes. They emit piercing sounds. I would assume that the silencer would protect me from that. But no. Like I said, the game treats it as if you don't even have the silencer anymore. So next time, we'll take on Helmar's Island and defeat the big man himself. Come back for the finale in the next final episode.